धुन कोई ऐसी बजे सुन के जो हर दिल कहे रेडियो फॉर द वॉइस ऑफ जयपुरिया रेडियो फॉर द वॉइस ऑफ जयपुरिया
Welcome to the world of Radio Spark, the voice of Jaipuria.
Hello everyone. We welcome you back to Radio Spark, the voice of Jaipuria. This is RJ Aditi.
And this is RJ Faiza, and today we are in conversation with Ms. Sharmishtha Chakraborty. She's a psychologist and a counsellor who's done her master's in psychology from the University of Calcutta and was associated with the IIT Kanpur for 11 years and is currently associated with a number of institutions and schools. We welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, could you begin by telling us the importance of having counselors in schools and introducing us to the concept of counseling?
Okay. So the concept of counseling is nothing new. It has existed for a very long time. If I look back, when we were in school, there would be always this very experienced teacher who we would run to for advice. Whenever we were stuck or we had a problem, we would go and take their advice. So the whole concept of talking to someone has always been there. However, now schools have become a lot bigger as an institution. Number of students have increased and teachers have a very hectic schedule. So in all of that, running to your favorite person, asking for some time, talking about your difficulties, it still exists, but it has become a little more difficult. So I think that's how the whole concept of counseling at school or any other institution evolved. Because having a counselor would mean that you would have a dedicated person in that school to whom you can run to, students could go to, talk to openly and take advice, understand what to do for themselves. And because of the training the counselors have, the training in psychology that they have, they can not only advise, but they can also help with issues where you need to learn, to reskill yourself. You need to, or rather students need to understand how to deal with that situation. So a counselor in a school would be a very trained and a very experienced person who would not only listen to a student, but also help the student to see how the problems could be sorted and even help the student to learn specific skills that might be needed at that point of time. A school counselor has many responsibilities, has many hats to wear. One is, of course, being a friendly, experienced person where a student would feel comfortable coming to, talking with, and sharing all issues. That's one. And the issues are never just academics. Academics is just one thing, right? And it is often a fallout of many other things, meaning, difficulty in various other areas can lead to academic difficulty. So at times students do approach because of academic difficulties, but while talking we realize that the real problem is not academics but something else.
So, ma'am, how can a student or a parent approach the school counselor?
Okay. So this school has a coordinating teacher. I think right now that is Mrs. Sabah Ahmed. And whoever wants to contact the counselor needs to contact her first. For the parents, they just need to send a mail or write to her or contact her in some way and let her know that they would like a session for their ward or for themselves, and then it will get coordinated. And for the students also, they can contact the coordinating teacher and the sessions would get coordinated.
Ma'am, you mentioned that the word counselor had gotten a negative reputation in the world lately, but such an association is made with the student visiting the counselor as well. So, is this true that a student who is visiting a counselor regularly has a problem or is academically weak?
Okay, that's a great question. So, a student coming to a counselor does not mean that a student is academically weak at all, or in any sense of the word weak. I mean, I would say rather the student is very strong. That the student has realized that going and talking to someone, discussing or trying to learn up some new skills would actually enhance his or her performance, be it academic, be it anything else. So I would say coming over to talk takes a lot of courage. I agree, because there are all these questions going inside your mind. But just imagine if somebody comes up to talk, understanding that a little change can bring in a lot of difference. That student is actually a very strong student, a very wise student. So I would say that it is not a weakness at all. And then here the sessions are quite confidential. It is not discussed with anybody unless there is any risk involved which requires me to let the administration know. Risk to the student or risk to other students or anybody else. Other than that, the sessions are absolutely confidential. Nothing is discussed with the other teachers or other, anybody else in the school.
So, ma'am, as you said, there can be a lot of factors affecting the child's performance. So, if I share, is it possible for me to share my personal issues with the counsellor?
Absolutely. Anything that is shared with the counsellor will remain absolutely confidential. Unless there is something which comes up as a risk to the student or to other students in the school or anybody else, it doesn't have to be shared with anybody.
So, another question that we come across a lot is, can consulting a counsellor help improve academic performance?
Yes, consulting a counsellor can help in improving academics in a number of ways. One, as I had said earlier, that academic problem is not only the result of, inability to learn or not learning well, or, it's not only a function of intelligence. There are many other reasons why academics can get affected. So when somebody meets a counsellor, then the situation can be assessed better, and then certain suggestions can be made, certain changes can be made. So it is very important actually that if somebody wants to do well, somebody is really trying hard yet is not getting that kind of a result, then it's very important for that person to come and consult, because not only is it important to understand why it is not happening, why is it that the performance is not up to the mark or up to the expectation, but it is also important to understand that at times we do not use the right set of skills to perform. After all, academics is also performance, right? So we need to have the skills to perform better. That can be also taught by a counsellor.
Ma'am, these were some of the most major questions that run through the minds of students before approaching a counsellor, either at school or any other institution. So I would like to thank you for having answered them so nicely, and this conversation has been really insightful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.